Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we can discuss about the importance of cultivating Vaishnava character, good dealings with other devotees a lot. But today I was specifically requested by Prabhu to speak on a important topic, that is sensitivity in dealings with other devotees. And for the new batches, we'll discuss more about the importance of Vaishnava character in our future sessions in the next few months you are here. So coming to this topic of sensitivity in dealings, it's of utmost importance to show some sensitivity not only in our words but primarily in our minds. Because if there is no sensitivity at heart, if you are not sensitive to another Vaishnava's needs or moods or deeds at heart, naturally our words and actions will be insensitive towards them. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Udvega means agitation. Anudvega means no agitation. Anudvegakaram vakyam means Krishna is emphasizing on the culture of communication. We should not speak in an agitating tone. If our words are agitating to the minds of others, then although communication is happening physically, externally, that communication will not reach the heart of the other individual. Communication is happening because the tone of the communication is not very pleasant, very agitating, disturbing to the mind. It will not reach the heart of the person. The purpose of communication is, the purpose of our speech is to just communicate a message to the other person. But if it comes in a certain tone which is not very palatable or pleasant, then it may not reach the heart and the intended purpose is not achieved. Right? So that's why Krishna said Anudvegakaram Vakyam. Secondly, he said Satyam. We should speak the truth. Speak the truth without any agitation or without causing any agitation. Right? Anudvegakaram Vakyam Satyam. But above these two principles, above non-agitating speech and truthful speech, is a well-wishing intent. Priyahitam chayat. Priyahitam means you become a well-wisher of the other person. Then swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva. You are all accustomed to swadhyaya. All of you have come here to do swadhyaya only. Swadhyaya means self-study, scriptural study. Abhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapauchati. This is the austerity of speech. All of you are familiar with this. So, here well-wishing intent is an important point. Although Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Anudvegakaram Vakyam Satyam Prihitam Chayit in the 17th chapter, how did Krishna begin his speech to Arjuna? Right in the 2nd chapter, Krishna said, Kalaibyam masmagamaha partha naitatvayi upapadyati kshudram hridaya dorbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. Give up this petty weakness of heart, Arjuna. Its impotency. It doesn't befit you. That too at the time of this crisis, at this crisis hour, you are getting confused and bewildered. And you are one of the foremost warriors on the side of Pandavas. How can you be so confused? So Krishna chastised. Krishna scolded Arjuna, and that's how he began his speech. In the first chapter, Krishna made only one statement. In the entire first chapter of 47 shlokas, you must have read. First chapter is over? So in the first chapter, Krishna spoke only one statement. What is that? Tell me. Yes, Nadiya Godrama Prabhu. You read the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Tell me, what did Krishna speak in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Most of it, Krishna was speaking. Arjuna was speaking. First shloka, our Dhritarashtra spoke. And after that, few more shlokas, Sanjaya spoke. And Duryodhan spoke. Arjuna spoke later. But what did Krishna speak in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Yes? Yes, Prabhu. Behold Arjuna, here are the armies standing in front of you. That's all he spoke, nothing more. Because Arjuna spoke to Krishna. He said, please take my chariot between both the armies, so that I can see who all have assembled here to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Right? So, Ratham Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapaya Mechyuta Yavadeta Niriksheham Yudhu Kaman Avasthitan. You remember the shloka? But in the second chapter, Krishna started speaking. Second chapter, seeing Arjuna's lamentation and tears, Krishna said 2 shlokas, Klaibyam Masmaga Mahapartha and all that. Then after that, Arjuna said, I become your Sishya, you become my Guru, and then you please teach me, enlighten me. Then Krishna spoke Atmagnana from the 11th shloka, which is the difference between body and soul, the eternal nature of soul and the temporary, transient nature of the body, right? So, why is Krishna speaking in a very agitating tone to Arjuna, while one of the prominent teachings of Krishna in Gita is speak in an unagitating tone? The answer is Priya Hitam Chayat. As we see in the commentaries of Acharyas like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Prabhupada also at some other places. When there is well-wishing intent, sometimes you may have to speak in an agitating tone. But if we don't have that well-wishing intent, we have no right to speak in an agitating tone. Acharyas gave the example also. Parents can sometimes speak in an agitating tone. They may speak little heavily and strongly to their children because by default they are well-wishers. Similarly, teachers, by default they are well-wishers of students. They can speak udvegakaram vakyam. So it is possible sometimes in some situations, unless we communicate with some heavy and strong tone, the message may not be taken very seriously by the younger ones. So it may be a necessity. Sometimes Prabhupada would chastise. Sometimes a teacher may chastise a student. Sometimes a parent, mother or father may chastise a child. But it is not supposed to be insensitive speech. That chastisement coming from a well-wishing superior towards a dependent, a younger one, is not insensitive speech. It is for the well-being of the person, just to discipline the student or the child. Sometimes some heavy words are spoken. That's what Krishna is doing with Arjuna. So, we need to understand the importance of speaking sensitively, gently, diligently, intelligently, politely, sensitively, sensibly towards others in all general circumstances. Sometimes when it is required in some emergency situations, rarely, if it is absolutely necessary, then you may have to speak in an agitating tone. That too if you have a well-wishing intent, and that too if the other person is younger or dependent or your subordinate, or you are responsible for them. Without having that sense of responsibility towards someone, we have no right to chastise them or scold them, right? So in all other cases, we have to be sensitive. There are some rare cases where we may have to raise our voice, but that is not an expression of insensitivity in the heart. That's an expression of your concern for the situation and your well-wishing intent to see the situation or the person in a much better manner. That should be the mood while speaking strongly, if at all it is required. Otherwise, in all other circumstances, sensitive speech, gentle speech is expected. Now let me recollect some pastimes from Ramayana. Ramanam is coming up. From Srimad Bhagavatam, that's our main book. From Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Whatever comes to my mind. Let me begin with Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's immediately coming to my mind. Once, Shivananda Sen was leading a yatra from Navadvip area, Bengal area, all the way to Orissa, Jagannath Puri. And Nityananda Prabhu is also there in the yatra. Somehow, to cut the long story short, Nityananda Prabhu did not get his accommodation. And Nityananda Prabhu started chastising Shivananda Sen left, right, center. And after some time, after some delay, Shivananda Sen came in front of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu kicked on Shivananda Sen's chest. And, oh my God, others were shocked. Of course, Shivananda Sen considered that I have offended Nityananda Prabhu, and this is the right punishment for me, right? I have offended him, but I am not taking this offense. To get the dust from the lotus feet of Nityananda Balaram is a great privilege, so he did not take it otherwise. In fact, he felt very sad that he delayed Nityananda Prabhu's accommodation, right? And Nityananda Prabhu also, he did it feeling completely confident that Shivananda Sen will not misunderstand him. So we can be strict or heavy with only those people when we feel confident that they will not misunderstand us, right? When you sense that the other person will definitely misunderstand you or take you, I mean, they may feel very hurt, then the expression of a superior also will be curtailed. Anyways, here the main point here is Shrikant Sen, one of the younger ones, nephew I think, nephew right, of Shivananda Sen, he felt very offended. He felt very disturbed in the mind, seeing Nityananda Prabhu's treatment. Then leaving this whole party, he just proceeded to Jagannath Puri on his own. Eventually, he reached Jagannath Puri, he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And seeing Sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offered obeisances. It's good to offer obeisances. But he forgot one little finer nuance in etiquette to offer obeisances. Generally, they offer obeisances by removing the upper cloth. But he was wearing shirt and coat, and with that he is offering obeisances. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's assistant, Govinda, told Shrikant Sen, hey, this is not the right way to offer obeisances. You should remove this coat and this your royal outfit, coat and shirt, then you can offer obeisances. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately said, Govinda, please don't do it. Don't correct him. Because his mind is agitated. His mind is disturbed. When someone's mind is disturbed, you can't give instruction. You can't give them a suggestion. They want to be able to accept it. Now see this sensitivity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's extremely sensitive to the situation of Srikant Sen. Because he is disturbed in mind, therefore he behaved the way he behaved. Otherwise he would not have behaved like this. He knows etiquette. He knows what is right, what is wrong, generally speaking. But because he's in an emergency situation or some kind of disturbed mindset, he could not follow this etiquette. So knowing that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu restrained Govinda, don't correct him. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not hold himself to correct Govinda, because Govinda is not in a disturbed mindset. You understand? If Govinda is in a disturbed mindset, Mahaprabhu would not correct him. Here Govinda is giving correction to Srikant Sen, Mahaprabhu is giving correction to Govinda. If Govinda's mind is agitated, Mahaprabhu will have to wait for some time to give correction. Right? So who can take a correction, who cannot take a correction, that is also important. When somebody is with a cool head, then if you give a suggestion, they can accept it. If they are not in a cool head, although otherwise they are very nice and simple and nice people, but they can't take the correction. So this is called sensitivity. By the circumstantial behavior of a Vaishnava, you cannot label that Vaishnava. Right? So in this circumstance, their behavior is like that. Yes, that's a wrong behavior. You understand? Just because this Vaishnava has done it, that does not mean it will become a bona fide behavior. What is right, what is wrong, we should have the discrimination. As Srila Prabhupada says in the 3rd canto Bhagavatam 12th chapter, mistake is a mistake even if an exalted devotee does it. Just because an exalted devotee does something, that does not mean a mistake becomes a bona fide activity. So we should never lose the discrimination. Just because a senior person did this, that does not mean you can also do it. Right? So when you see another Vaishnava, especially a senior Vaishnava doing some mistake, we need to remember 3 things. First thing is, don't lose discrimination. Just because he does a wrong activity, that does not mean that mistake becomes bona fide. See the mistake as a mistake. Second thing, don't lose respect for that person. Yeah, although they have done a mistake, don't forget all the glorious service they have done in the past. And don't eliminate the possibility of they doing great service in the future also. In this circumstance, in this situation, they must have done something, whatever they have done. Is this their consistent behavior? Is it their permanent value system, or it's a circumstantial behavior? There is a circumstantial behavior, and there is a conditional behavior, and there is a constitutional behavior. Our constitutional behavior is service to Krishna. Constitutionally, all of us are servants of Krishna. We are all subordinates to Krishna. We are eternally Atmas and Amshas of Krishna, Das of Krishna. So that's our constitutional position, constitutional activity or attitude. But there is a conditional attitude. Somebody has a conditioning to speak lies, to be diplomatic, to manipulate the situation, or to eat more, or to speak more. Some are extroverts, some are introverts. That's a conditional behavior or attitude. But there is a circumstantial behavior. It's neither conditional nor constitutional. It's just a circumstantial. So we need to separate out that circumstantial behavior and not label a devotee because of the circumstantial behavior. If it is conditional and that conditioning is very wrong condition, of course we have to do the needful. Whatever is what is the needful depends on the circumstance and who are you, who are they. But if it is a conditional behavior which is very unpleasant, then we have to do the needful with that person. But if it's a circumstantial behavior, let's not label another devotee or their integrity or honesty based on their circumstantial behavior. Makes sense? Three things we discussed: conditional, circumstantial, constitutional. But before these three things, we were discussing the other three things. What are the other three things? How to perceive or how to respond when you see a senior person, another Vaishnava doing a big mistake, big or small mistake. First, see the mistake as a mistake, don't lose discrimination. Second, don't lose respect for the person. Don't discount all the glorious service they have done or they will be doing. Third thing is, learn the personal lesson. If this Vaishnava can do this mistake, I can also do that mistake, therefore I need to be careful. Right? Learn the personal lesson in it. So when we have the bandwidth to see the mistakes of other Vaishnavas from this perspective, then we can be more sensitive in our dealings with them, in one sense. Because oftentimes one who is insensitive is carried away by the heat of the moment. It happens with everyone. It happened with me hundreds of times. It must have happened with you also, unless you are on Mahabhav platform. It must have happened with many of you many times. It happened with me several times. So we are carried away by the heat of the moment, and we may impulsively make a judgment or a statement or form an opinion based on that one little incident that has happened. But if you see the overall track record of the person, oh, it's glorious. Here is a place where he is behaving like this, but it's not the general behavior of that person. Srikant Sen, definitely it was a mistake on his part to offer obeisances without removing his coat and other outfit. But he wouldn't do that ordinarily. For example, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see Parikshit Maharaj keeping a dead snake around Shamik Rishi's neck. It was not his constitutional behavior. It was not his conditional behavior. It was totally circumstantial. Because at that moment he was a bit frustrated, and then you can't just label, oh, he's like this, he's an offender of Brahmanas. Only one Brahmana, only once in life. Never before and never after. Only once it has happened. You can't just label him. But Vena is constantly offending Brahmanas. He's an offender of Brahmanas, offender of Vaishnavas, offender of sages, offender of Brahmanical culture and scriptures and the Supreme Lord himself. So that's like a very bad conditioned behavior. Right? So circumstantially something has happened. So when we have the bandwidth or when we cultivate the bandwidth to be a genuine well-wisher of another person at heart, then we can see the situation more sensitively. Okay, let me discuss another example from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a great devotee from Jagannath Puri, once he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for meals at his home, prasadam. Actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has the enthusiasm and eagerness to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for prasadam every single day throughout the month, 30 days in a month. Mahaprabhu said, no, I cannot come. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, okay, 25 days in a month? 20? He is negotiating. 15 at least, alternate days you can come. Mahaprabhu says, no. 10 days please. Mahaprabhu says, no. Okay, fine, 5, not less than this. So Mahaprabhu accepted finally. 5 times I'll come to your home and take prasad. And one day Mahaprabhu went for prasad to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's home, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife Shathir Mata, they made elaborate meal, excellent meal. You can read the 15th chapter of the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita for more details. Where are you now? Which chapter? First chapter of Madhya Leela. Okay. And when it comes to 15th chapter, you'll be excited. Your mouth will be watering. Reading what Shathir Mata has made. Bengali devotees can relate with it better. So Mahaprabhu came and sat there, and Lord Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was lovingly feeding Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the Mahaprabhu says, no, I cannot eat, please get another smaller plate, I'll sit there and then eat one morsel of food. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, no, everything is for you. So Mahaprabhu was forced, lovingly forced. Right? Again, it's not insensitivity. It's a loving force. Anything that's little unconventional, you cannot see it as insensitivity. Sometimes you have to force. It's a loving force. If somebody is not accepting a privilege, not accepting praise, not accepting prasadam, not accepting a facility, you can push. If some devotee comes here, he has a knee pain or something like that, but still everybody is sitting down. Okay, let me also sit down. They are sitting down, but you notice that it's not comfortable for you. Then you offer them a chair, and the devotee says, no, I'll sit down. No, you should push them, force them to sit on chair. What to do? That's not insensitivity. That's actually sensitivity, right? We should be able to hear a yes behind a no and a no behind a yes. That is maturity. Right? So maturity is to understand the heart of the person. Although the words are little different, are completely different. What they say is completely different, but internally you should understand their mood and need. That is maturity. So Mahaprabhu was being forced very much. Then Mahaprabhu sat and ate. In this context, I am remembering another pastime from Antya-Leela. I will not go for a detour, but I will just recollect it. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was apparently extremely insensitive towards Gopinath Patnaik. Gopinath Patnaik was arrested by Prataparudra Maharaj. No, actually not Prataparudra Maharaj. His son Purushottam Jana arrested him and he was about to put him on changa and kill him. Then all the devotees came to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, my dear Lord, please protect him. He's your devotee. Then Mahaprabhu says, no, I have nothing to do with it. I am a sannyasi. How can I endorse someone who has misappropriated the king's money? And if the king is punishing him for not paying the money that he's supposed to pay, how can I endorse him? I cannot support this social misbehavior. And Mahaprabhu is apparently highly insensitive. Okay, I have nothing to do with this case. Although he is his devotee. But later, somehow, it's a long story, Kashi Mishra intervened. Later some Harichandan came and reported to Prataparudra Maharaj that your son is trying to kill, your son Purushottam Jana is trying to kill Gopinath Patnaik for not getting the money. Then immediately King Prataparudra Maharaj said, no, I never told the prince to kill him. I just wanted the money. I don't want his life. Then immediately his life was saved. He was given some time to pay whatever money he was supposed to give the king. And later Kashi Mishra started speaking to Prataparudra Maharaj that Mahaprabhu is extremely disturbed by this incident. Now this one statement, Mahaprabhu is disturbed by this incident, could be interpreted in 100 different ways. One way of interpretation from Mahaprabhu's perspective is, he is disturbed because devotees are coming and requesting him to save Gopinath Patnaik and pushing him to endorse his social misbehavior. That's what disturbed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it could be perceived in a different way. And Prataparudra Maharaj could conveniently see it as, oh, because I have arrested his devotee, that's why Lord is disturbed. Getting right? For this, what am I supposed to do? I should relieve him from all the debts. He relieved from all the debts. He doubled his salary. He gave his job. And then later Mahaprabhu felt extremely embarrassed. No, Prataparudra Maharaj should not be giving any concession to Gopinath Patnaik for my sake. It's like as if I am taking favor. He's very sensitive thing. Kashi Mishra handled it very sensitively. Right? It should not seem like Mahaprabhu is taking some favor from King Prataparudra. Oh, the junior batch, you are able to relate with this? I am discussing the story very briefly, assuming that you already know the story. But I think I will be sensitive to you and then come back to normal discussion. But the only point that I wanted to make here is, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya forced Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to eat, and it's not insensitivity, it's loving push. And Kashi Mishra intervened in this whole situation in such a way that Pratapadra Maharaj relieves Gopinath Patnaik, and also Kashi Mishra was sensitive enough to ensure that Mahaprabhu doesn't feel uncomfortable because of this. Right? You're getting right? So Mahaprabhu should not feel uncomfortable. Kashi Mishra told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, Pratapadra Maharaj released Gopinath Patnaik out of his affection for him, not for your sake. Don't think that he has done a favor for you. He has done a favor for him and you are out of the picture completely. Then Mahaprabhu said, then it's fine. Right? So this is sensitivity. Anyways, coming back to our main thing. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was being lovingly pushed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to eat so much. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law Amogha came there and said, this much prasad 10-12 people can eat and this sannyasi is eating so much. What kind of sannyasi is he? That was his comment. Totally insensitive. Here is an honorable guest coming and taking prasad. While taking prasad, how can you pass such a comment? 10-12 people can eat this prasad and this one sannyasi is eating so much. He's a guest. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as an essence seeker, he said, at least Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is feeling very angry. He is extremely angry, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what Amogha said is completely correct. Yes, sannyasi should not overeat. Forget sannyasi. Nobody should overeat. That's the principle. Bhalana kaibe, atyahara prayasascha, so many things we have learned. So no one should overeat. Definitely sannyasi should have control over senses. Therefore sannyasi should eat frugally. What Amogha said is appropriate statement. It is satyam, but not priyahitam. And it is udvegakaram vakyam. If your satyam is not anudvegakaram vakyam, if it is not priyahitam, then that satyam loses its value. What is the context of speaking the truth? It's a truth that one should not overeat. Sannyasi should not overeat. It's a truth, but you can't speak it so insensitively while the sannyasi is eating. That too, when the sannyasi is an honorable guest of your father-in-law. Completely insensitive to the emotions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Totally insensitive to an honorable guest like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amogha passed this comment. This is insensitivity. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is extremely sensitive to this situation and it's trying to console Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became very sensitive. My God, I invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only to have him insulted at my home. I am such a papi, I am such an aparadhi. Let my son-in-law die. Let him die. Even if my daughter becomes a widow, I have no problem. This offender of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must die. He doesn't know how to behave with people. Actually, that's not the extreme intent of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but he went to the extent of cursing him to die for the offense that has happened to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, when somebody is angry, and if an angry person speaks something, don't take it very seriously. Because an angry person often speaks more than what he means. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually did not desire the death of Amogha in one sense. He would not ordinarily do so. But because of the offense that has happened to Lord Chaitanya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said it and repeatedly said it also. Right? But Amogha's critical mentality Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knew before also. Actually, he was holding a stick and carefully watching. Maybe he may come at any moment. But somehow he was a little inattentive and he was little caught up in serving Lord Chaitanya. Meanwhile, Amogha came and passed this comment. Right? Totally insensitive. Sometimes we are too eager to express our opinions and emotions, not understanding the repercussions or consequences. We are extremely eager to express our opinions. Yes, this is my opinion, I have to express it now. But if I express it, how will the other Vaishnava feel? That we may lose track. And that's what Amogha did. Amogha expressed his opinion, which is truth. but the truth is not spoken in the right context, in the right mood, with the right intent. So, what is the use of speaking that kind of truth here? Actually, some people who are very insensitive, they speak the truth out of context only to suit their purposes. Because this person has a critical mentality, to support his critical mentality, to fulfill his urge to criticize or pass a comment, he is finding some statement that may be apparently, that may be generally truthful to suit his mood now. Right? How can he eat so much? Right? So, he is insensitive. Amogha is insensitive. Lord Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is very sensitive to the situation, and he felt offended that he has offended Lord Chaitanya by inviting him to such a home where there is an offender. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is extremely sensitive to the emotions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He said, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please don't worry, what Amogha said is correct. He's a young boy. He's very younger than you. You are a very elderly man. You should be kind and affectionate towards him. Don't feel, don't take it so seriously. It's okay, leave him. Mahaprabhu is sensitive. Because Mahaprabhu understood the emotions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He's feeling, he's burning within. Why? Because Mahaprabhu is offended. Not for his sake. If Amogha has passed that comment on Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he wouldn't mind. It's okay. He bolte rehte. Aur le lo. Give me that dal. Give me that sabji. He will take more. But because he passed that comment on Lord Chaitanya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is literally devastated. But because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is getting devastated, Mahaprabhu is very sensitive to him. Later, when Amogha got cholera, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to him and cured his cholera. Completely cured him. And said, you are connected to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. If you are affected in some way, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya only will be affected. Because if something happens to you, his daughter will become a widow and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's family will get affected. Even a dog connected to my devotee is very dear to me. What to speak of a Brahmana like you? But that malice that is there in your heart, envy that is there in your heart, that you have to remove. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed him with Krishna Prema. Can you just imagine? Out of his love and affection towards Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. If Mahaprabhu had been the host, and if somebody passes some kind of comment on one of his devotees, Mahaprabhu would have been furious on Amogha. This is called sensitivity. It is not that you apply black and white rule everywhere. Please understand this. Amogha passed a comment on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because it's a personal insult. So Mahaprabhu tolerated it. He did not mind. Later, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is affected so much that Mahaprabhu has been offended. So Mahaprabhu showed mercy on Amogha because of his connection with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But at another time, when Sanatana Goswami was given an advice by Jagadananda Pandit, Mahaprabhu became furious. Who is that Jagadananda Pandit to give you advice? Sanatana Goswami, you are on the level of my advisor. You can advise me also. And he is advising you. Who is he? Basically, Sanatana Goswami came to visit Jagannath Puri. But he had some kind of bodily sores and pus all over his body. And Mahaprabhu is embracing him every now and then. Sanatana Goswami is feeling very uncomfortable. Then Jagadanand Pandit came and said, I know, you understand, you are feeling very uncomfortable. So I think you visited, you saw Mahaprabhu, you saw Rath Yatra, I think you better go back to Vrindavan. Enough. Visit is over. Then that made Mahaprabhu very furious. Who is he to advise you? In comparison to the mistake done by Amogha, Jagadananda Pandit's mistake is not a very great mistake. But Mahaprabhu did not become even slightly angry on Amogha. He became extremely angry on Jagadananda Pandit. Can you just understand this? This is called sensitivity. You can't have a set of standard SOPs or policies, protocols, rules and regulations, how to respond. You can't go black and white. There is sensitivity involved. Whom are we speaking? With whom are we speaking? Right? If somebody is very close to you, you can even heavily give them a feedback for a small mistake. If somebody is not so close to you, even if they do grave mistake, you may have to keep quiet. This is sensitivity. if a seasoned devotee staying in the temple stretches his feet towards the deities, just assume the correction given by a devotee will be very heavy. Senior devotee, what is this? Can't you even understand this much? You can't stretch your feet towards the deities. But if a new bhakta, very new, brand new person just comes there for the satsang program, I think they may not even correct. Even if they correct also, it's very, very mild with a smile, broad smile on the face. Or without even that correction, yes, you will go and stand in between so that their feet will not face the deities or something like that. So why? They are new and he is seasoned. Therefore correction has to be strict here, and then correction has to be very mild or no correction, or just tolerance will work there. One will not get agitated also. If a small child does a mistake, it's a loving correction. If a grown-up person does a mistake, it's a very heavy correction. This is called sensitivity. Another aspect of sensitivity is, I think next few classes will go in it. We have given an essay topic. So Prabhu saw me at Madan Mohan temple and said, Prabhu, you have to speak on sensitivity. We have discussed so many topics, not this one. What's the time now? Okay. Maybe I'll just speak one little example. Our Indra offended Krishna. You know that. He created a devastating rainfall in Vrindavan, and Krishna lifted Govardhan mountain to protect the Vrajavasis. Then after 1 week, Indra stopped his rain. He felt regretful. He went to Brahmaloka. He went to Brahaspati. And with the advice given by so many sages and the senior devatas, he came to beg forgiveness from Krishna with Surabhi. Then Krishna, being extremely sensitive to the situation of Indra, he left his Gopa boy friends and came to a secluded place so that Indra can get a private audience. Indra is already very embarrassed, very humiliated, very much defeated. He's crying now. Now, if I don't give him a private audience, and if I just continue to play with my friends, and Indra has to come and say, please come, I have to talk to you. No. Jo bhi bolna idhar hi bolo. Whatever you want to say, you say in front of all my friends only. If Krishna says that, seeing Indra, will you think Madhumangal will keep quiet? Will you think Sridhama, Sudama, Stoka Krishna, Subal, will they keep quiet? Nobody will keep quiet. They will start passing comments on Indra, or just joking about Indra, or insulting him in a childish manner, of course. They never have any malice in their heart, but they may just joke. So that would be even more embarrassing and more humiliating to Indra. So Krishna said, okay, fine, let me go and meet him separately. So Krishna gave a private audience to Indra. And Indra came and said sorry, and you know what has happened later. This is called sensitivity. When somebody does a mistake, and if that person realizes that mistake and comes to apologize for the mistake, you should be sensitive. Hamesha aisa hi karte hai, nonsense. You can't just continue to shout at them. They have realized it, they're saying sorry. Be sensitive to that. At least give them one more chance. But if you don't forgive at all, that is insensitivity. Of course, some mistakes are extremely unpardonable. Even if they regret, even if they cry also, sometimes they have to be punished in a certain way, considering the gravity of the mistake. But if small mistakes are there, small, medium, chalta hai. Serious, of course, you have to deal with it more seriously. But when they realize the mistake and then they are saying sorry, we should have the bandwidth to forgive, accommodate them, be sensitive to their emotions, empathy, sympathy. All these are under the umbrella of sensitivity. So we'll discuss more about sensitive dealings next week. I think I'll stop here. I should be sensitive to your lunchtime. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? One hand. Any other questions? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes, Mataji.
Harekrishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Prabhuji, two questions, quick questions. That you have mentioned that we are heavy on someone to whom we are sure that he or she will not live. So sometimes it leads to expectation that he or she will not live, do whatever.
That is taking for granted.
Right.
Right? The context of giving correction to someone who is close to you is that there is a well-wishing intent. By default, there is a well-wishing intent, and they need a correction, and you become little strong in communicating it. So then it's fine. They don't misunderstand you. Like for example, a mother has to chastise a child, or a teacher has to correct a student, a close student. Then the correction can be heavy, and still the relationship will continue, right? But if that correction is given in the mood of disrespect, or by taking them for granted, whatever I chastise, he will be at my feet only, then that is not sensitivity. That is like insensitivity. Even before that point, we were discussing that in all ordinary cases, you need to be sensitive and gentle and polite and kind and affectionate and compassionate only. Sometimes if it is a requirement to give a correction, that can be little strong if they are close to you. It has to be very, very mild if they are not so close to you. That's the point.
And second question is, you have mentioned that past time the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped Govinda to not to chastise Sri Kansan because he is disturbed. So it happens many times that we are in some disturbing situations. We don't have any ill feelings or something like that, but the situation, the scenario is that kind of serious and disturbing that
we become a bit agitated, irritable.
Yeah, the way of our sharing is in very agitative language. So at that time, how to share our feelings also in a very clear manner, and yet how to be in a Vaishnava etiquette.
After all, we are all human beings. Although we are practicing bhakti, we have our own shortcomings and emotional outbursts. In such situations, it's again circumstantial behavior. So we may not be able to show our best behavior. We should learn to forgive ourselves also. But at the same time, we should strive to respond in a more mature manner. In one instance, if you have become little impulsive in your response to a situation, at least regret for it, introspect on it, regret for it in the next situation. When a similar situation comes after some time, try to respond in a more mature manner. Try to upgrade your response. Right? It's a constant. It's work in progress. I often give this DARE formula. DARE, when you become angry or when you feel like being little impulsive and then starting shouting on people, or you become a little irritable. First, delay. Delay your response. Don't immediately express it. Like the words, whatever words are just about to slip from your tongue, but okay, delay. Let me just stop, pause for a moment. So delay. First is delay. Before the emotion comes as an expression through words or becomes an action, just give some delay. First is delay. In the delay period, analyze. Analyze the consequences of your expression. You say you want to become angry and shout at somebody. Don't immediately shout. Tell the mind, you will shout, but not immediately. Wait for 10 minutes. Wait for 20 minutes. Wait for half an hour. Wait for 1 day, wait for 2 days, depending on the situation, right? So when you feel like shouting, don't immediately tell the mind, don't shout. Just say, let's delay, let's wait for a while. So in the delay period, you know what you should do? Analyze. A for analyze. What should you analyze? Analyze the consequences of your expression of anger. Once you analyze the consequences, now I am angry, I am very, very angry, I am very agitated. So my anger is making me throw this phone on the floor, for example. Now, don't immediately throw, delay. So in the delay time, You analyze, if I throw this phone, what will happen? I'll have to take a new phone. It will be damaged. Screen will be affected or whatever. So then once you analyze the consequence, next you can refine your response. That is the third point. Refine your response. Yes, what they have done is wrong. You have to give them a correction. But don't immediately give the correction. Delay and analyze the consequences and then refine your correction, refine your suggestion, refine your response. All these three things, D-A-R, I spoke from your perspective. The last one, E, I'll speak from the other person's perspective, empathy. Empathy means you try to put yourself in the shoes of the other person and analyze the situation. In the second point, you analyze the consequences of your expression of anger. But in the last point, empathy, you empathize with the other person. I am expressing my emotion because they have done whatever they have done. Because they said or they did something which is very unpleasant, therefore I am expressing this. But why did they say what they said? Why did they do what they did? So you empathize with the person. Am I actually causing some inconvenience? Why did they behave like this with me? There must be some reason for their behavior. Maybe I must have done an offense, or somebody must have agitated them, and that is coming in front of me. If I again start impulsively responding, they will be even more affected by it. So empathize with the other person. Because everybody in this world is undergoing a lot of stress, pressures, difficulties. If you don't empathize with them, we can't keep our relationships. We can't value relationships. We can't approve something inappropriate, definitely. At the same time, we should not fail to be empathetic. There must be some reason behind their behavior or their words. So the more we think in an empathetic way, the more we become sensitive to their situation. Then we will not be impulsive or angry. D-A-R-E. I speak this in corporate sessions, but I think in Bhagavatam sessions also it's relevant. For Vidyapit students also it's relevant. So, there. Okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So from Govinda's side, when Srikanto came, Lord Mahaprabhu is the super soul. He knows the heart of what is going on in the mind of Srikanto. But Govinda also a good devotee. He is a servant of Mahaprabhu. But he could not understand the situation and agitation of his mind. If he could understand, he could not go to correct him. So how to read the mind in certain time, other person is agitated or not, and
if Govinda had not attempted to correct Srikant Sen, Mahaprabhu would not have corrected him. Then we would not get this lesson. Right? So all the pastimes in the Lord's manifest Leelas here happen to give us a message. Okay, coming to your question, how to read the mind of other people. First thing, it's not necessary to read everybody's mind. First point. Second point, even if it is necessary to read someone's mind, we can do it effectively to some degree at least only when there is purity in our sadhana, purity in our character. You know where am I quoting this from? Yes, Bhakti Vaibhav students. There is one sage in Bhagavatam who met a king. And the king is very sad. Seeing the king, immediately the sage understood there is some disturbance going on in your mind. Externally, acha chal rahe. You are smiling and you are leading the community. But I can clearly read your mind that there is some anxiety going on in your mind. Some sadness is there. Who is that? Chitraketu Maharaj's mind was read by Angira Rishi. Right? Angira Rishi. So in that context, it's mentioned, Bhagavatam says that because Angira Rishi is perfect in his sadhana, in his tapasya, in his purity, he was able to detect the mind of Chitraketu Maharaj. Some people think that they can detect their minds, read the minds of others without having a pure intent, without having purity of their own consciousness. When the consciousness is pure, when the intention is pure, when your sadhana is pure, when you are eating, sleeping, mating, defending, when they are pure, then you will be able to understand what's going on in the other minds to some degree at least. May not be like Paramatma, but to some degree. Most people can't understand their own minds. They are confused, bewildered. How can they understand others' minds? Okay, but mature devotees can understand others' minds very easily, very effortlessly, because of their spiritual purity. One last question. Yes, Prabhu. You had a question. We can't miss Prabhu's question. Yeah, you can ask. After that, we'll take his question also.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, I just want to follow the first question. So, like, when we see some authority, they are giving chastisement depending upon whether if I give chastisement to this particular student, will he stay or will he obey, or he is used to it. In this kind of situation, from an external point, from a third person point of view, you are seeing an authority seeing and insensitively chastising a person and understanding, like from a third person point of view, how should we see? Because we are not connected with that either option, either way. How should we be sensitive either? Because the student is getting, because of this insensitive behavior of the authority, he is feeling sad. Because of this, how should we see as a third person?
If you are not connected to that incident or the people, just move on with your activities. You don't need to judge. You don't have to learn lesson from everything that you see around. Because we don't know the context of it. We may not be able to fully understand. Sometimes there are some obvious lessons in some incidents that are happening right in front of us. But sometimes the lesson is not obvious. It could be a misunderstanding also. It could be misinterpretation of the situation also. Sometimes you see, for example, a small sparrow is there trying to eat some food. Suddenly a big crow came and the sparrow flew away, and that food is taken by crow. Crow is bigger than the sparrow. Or an eagle came. Then you can immediately make derive a lesson. Okay, I am speaking this from the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, 24 Gurus. Once there was a little bird, Kurari bird, caught some piece of flesh for eating. Then some big hawk came, and this Kurari bird just left that piece of flesh for the hawk, and then it flew away and saved his own life. It's a detachment. So when you learn the art of relinquishing something which can cause harm to you, then you can save your life. So this is the lesson. So some lessons are very obvious. Although it's just you are just passing by, and on the road you see some scene, and then you can immediately learn a lesson, important lesson. That's a reflection, introspection. But sometimes when a communication is happening between two people, two individuals, two devotees, a senior, junior, whatever, two devotees, we may not be able to fully interpret it without knowing the context, without knowing the people. So better we just keep quiet and focus on our service. If you know both of them, and if a lesson is very obvious in their interaction, you can learn for your own personal upgradation. But knowing that there is a possibility of misinterpretation or misunderstanding of the situation, let me be little away from that situation where somebody is giving aggression to someone else, especially when you are not connected to the people or the situation there. Makes sense? Play safe.
It's like we are connected to that situation. We are connected to both the authority and the student. We some way, in some minor way, we are connected in that situations. If you are seeing some, for example, if
depending on the level of your connection, you can take the lesson. If you are totally disconnected, then better stay away. If you are somewhat connected, then fine. But don't get into unnecessary perceptions. Sometimes we think we are authorized to judge someone and become a self-appointed jury panel. If you actually know, fine. And it's a series of incidents that, if you are living with them for 10 years or 20 years, then you can understand them better. Then you can derive some lesson, sensible lesson out of it. But some stray observations, if you misinterpret them, it could be harmful to our own consciousness. Yes, Prabhu. Krishna Kirt Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very sensitively you covered this topic. It's very, very essential, especially in our sadhaka level, because most of the things we will misunderstand the lacking of the sensitivity aspect. Prabhu, my question at the end of your discourse, you mentioned about just we go and apologize when we get to know about our mistake.
Mm.
Now, these two analyses. One thing is, okay, we done the mistake, then we go and then ask for the apologizes. The response from the opposite person, the devotee, may not be very pleasable.
Pleasing, yeah.
First thing is we already done the mistake, and the second thing is when we are getting an apologized, that time the reverse answer is much more displeasing. Second, if we are not yet done any mistake, but still to have a good relationship with both of us, after some time if we are going there, and again behavior is the same only. Again that
I didn't get the second point. First point, you said sorry.
because I did the mistake.
You
This
did a
is
mistake,
my
and you
part.
said sorry, and they did not accept the apologies, and the response after you saying sorry is more insensitive than it was before. That's first case. What is the second case?
Second case, mistake is there in the other part only. It's not our side.
Okay.
Now continuation of the same thing. So how to handle this situation and have it, especially when the person is like, say for example, Krishna consciousness inmate only, is a devotee only, and we need to have a good relationship with the Vaishnava. And in particularly Kotanarkot, if I want to say that he's an ashram mate, is a colleague only. So how to handle this?
Okay. You did a mistake. Not you. One, devotee A. Devotee A has done a mistake and devotee B is affected by it, and devotee A went and said sorry. B did not accept it. Apology is not accepted. What can you do? You say sorry. Your job is over. You say sorry second time, third time, 10 times. Okay, fine. Then chant Hare Krishna. If they are not accepting the apologies, wait for their acceptance. Especially if it is mistake on your part, then definitely you can't demand forgiveness. Sorry, Bora. I said sorry. So you have to forgive. You just give them some time. Na? Sometimes just because we have apologized, that does not mean the other person is obliged to immediately forgive. Prabhu, I'm just waiting for your sorry. Okay, come. Let's embrace. It may not happen immediately. Give them some time to recover from your previous mistake. Right? And especially when they are coming back with greater force when you said sorry, it's good in one sense from your side. Not absolutely good, but from your side you should see it as good. Why? Whatever negativity or grudge or bitterness they were holding, they expressed it. Once the emotion comes to expression, heart will become light. And you will understand completely what they are going through. Then after they went out all their frustration, after some time, give them some time, 5 days, 10 days, 1 month, whatever it is. They will take their own time. Depending on the extent of egos people have, or depending on how much are they affected by the mistake we have done, they will take that much time to become normal with us. And sometimes that normalcy may not even happen also after a long time. Accept it, right? Don't hold any grudge towards them, right? Even if they are not very present, but still you can't hold grudge. What can we do? We have to accept the fact that we are human beings, we have some shortcomings. That's a lesson for us. We can become humble in such situation. If they immediately forgive and then everything becomes normal in 1 minute or 10 minutes or 2 days, the more grave lesson that is intended in the situation, we may not get it. Sometimes such tough situations will make us more humble, more detached, more refined in our behavior. See it from that perspective. Oh, this situation is giving me an opportunity to grow. But if you are on the receiving end, right, they did a mistake and they are saying sorry, now it's your turn to respond to their apologies. Immediately forgive. Actually, for a devotee, there is no question of forgiveness only. Because devotee never takes offense. Devotee will never say or feel that I forgive this person. When will the question of forgiveness comes? Only when you take offense. Devotee never takes offense only. When Gopal Chapal fell at the feet of Srivas Thakur, I never took any offense. You are getting this leprosy. No, Lord, please protect him from leprosy. Right? He never took that offense only in the first place. Amrish Maharaj never took the offense of Durvasa Muni. By default, a devotee's quality is not to take offense of anybody. The Lord will take offense. When a devotee is offended, devotee is not offended. When someone offends a devotee, devotee is not offended, but the Lord is offended. So for the Lord's sake, even if the devotee is not offended, you should say sorry. You should beg forgiveness. Right? You can't say, I did a mistake, but he's not offended only. Sorry ka kya jarurat hai? No, the Lord is offended. Why should I apologize? No. Because the Lord is offended, therefore you should say sorry. Genuinely, not as a formality. Makes sense, Prabhu? You know more. You are just asking me to give me an opportunity to remember the wisdom from the Shastras. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Initially it's very tough, but thank you so much. It's not only for me, it's ashram. That's the reason I mentioned it. Then ashram means irrespective of, because I have a lot of queries related to many of the devotees. So that is the reason I mentioned this. But really it takes a lot of time, as you keep on every time you used to say that.
Lot of time and lot of tolerance and lot of humility.
So it's it's not related to this, but same thing, connectivity of this. But how to build up that muscle power, just like for example what you mentioned about when I'm there as a junior, in your terminology I may not say, I can tell, just you can try to understand me. When I'm there as a subordinate, I can see this is the way I should not. This is a lesson to learn from the example. Say when I was in that situation, now I am the superior, say for example, when it come to me, I learned this lesson, then I should not exhibit this. Because I already learned the lesson, so I should become a little proactive and I should not do the same mistake by reacting. Because this is called an empathy, how it reacts to the other person. But both the ways, like now we are in the learning, that's true, because we are not at that level of pure devotee, so that we can. In that sense, it takes a lot of time. So what suggestions you will suggest, any exercises to build up this muscle power of tolerance and other aspects during this time?
I'm not fully clear about what you mentioned, but anyways, I will try to share what comes to my mind at this moment. I would say the more we read Srimad Bhagavatam and the more we meditate on the pastimes of Chitraketu Maharaj apologizing Parvati Devi, Parikshit Maharaj not apologizing Shamik Rishi, or Indra saying sorry to Krishna, Brahma begging forgiveness with tears coming from his 8 eyes in front of 6-year-old Krishna, and many other episodes like that in Srimad Bhagavatam, that will give us sufficient muscle power, as you said, strength to respond appropriately in various real life situations. Because all our wisdom is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, our scriptures. And Bhagavatam is one of the foremost books for us Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, are trying to practice Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Bhagavatam is the most exalted Praman, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended. So the more we read Bhagavatam, the more we hear Bhagavatam, the more we meditate on the lessons of Bhagavatam as they are demonstrated by pure Vaishnavas like Ambarish Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Kunti Mata, Bhishma Dev, Chitraketu Maharaj. The more we meditate on them, the more we become like them, the more we respond like them, like these Vaishnavas do. The more you discuss about Prahlad Maharaj's story, the more you discuss about Dhruva Maharaj's story, the more you discuss about Suniti Mata's story, the more you respond like them. The more you behave like them, the more you think like them. Your thinking pattern goes in that way. But the problem is, although we want to implement that, the mentalities and the circumstances in Kali Yuga will not allow us to implement. Gauranga Prabhu asked a question on the way we were discussing something. So this is somewhat slightly connected to that. Somehow, although we hear a lot, we meditate a lot, we speak a lot, we read a lot of great philosophy, pure principles and lessons, we may not be able to apply them in our real life. One is, we don't have determination. We don't regularly revisit those lessons, but we just see once in a while, and after hearing the class we get excited, and after 1 or 2 days we become normal. Second is, even if somebody with great determination wants to apply the principles, Kali Yuga situation is so powerful that unless we have great purity of intention, we will be carried away with the flow of Kali Yuga situation. We may not be able to apply the lessons. It requires great inner strength to have the determination to apply the situation, whatever happens. Apply these lessons in the situation, whatever happens. But many times the situations are not very ideal. You want to implement the lessons, but somehow the situation is so tempting, so bewildering, so confusing. If you apply that ideal principle, you will be taken for granted. You will be exploited. Right? That's why Pandavas wanted to fight in a straightforward manner. But what to do? Kauravas are coming with different other plans. So Krishna had to employ some diplomacy. Oh, if I don't put my Sudarshan Chakra, if I don't allow my Sudarshan Chakra to hide the sun, Arjuna has to commit suicide. To kill Jayadratha and to save Arjuna, I have to create an ambience of sunset. So Krishna had to do all that stuff. Sometimes diplomacy has to be employed. Sometimes we have to be a little smart in real life situations. If we just act in an idealistic manner, it may not work. Diplomacy has its role to play. But diplomacy should not be our second nature. Without any emergency situation, we cannot put it. We cannot apply diplomacy. We cannot make apad dharma into samanya dharma or sadharana dharma. But there is some apad dharma where you have to respond in a situation in a little unconventional way, because other people are not very conventional. They are not committing to the same principles. If everybody in a community is completely committed to uphold these principles, all interactions can be nice, despite all their shortcomings. But not everybody likes to or are committed to uphold these Vaishnava principles at all times. At heart they may want to, but at all times they may not be able to for whatever reasons. Then it's very difficult to operate on that level. Humility is not to allow ourselves to get exploited unnecessarily. Humility is not to just witness injustice and allow it to go on forever. Sometimes you have to speak up. This is like practical application. Once His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, humility is not to accept untruth or falsity or something inappropriate that's happening in front of you. We have to be humble in front of the truth. And we may sometimes have to speak up for the truth. Ultimately, surrender to the truth is humility. I'm rephrasing. I'm unable to recollect exact verbatim. But humility is not just to accept anything that is happening to you. Humility is to submit to the truth, submit to justice, submit to what is appropriate, what is the right thing to do. So to do the right thing, even if you have to speak up, conventional, apparently it may not seem like humility, but that speaking up is humility, because you are upholding the truth, upholding the virtue of absolute truth. Falsity is not humility. Just to keep quiet, although whatever is happening in front of you, that need not be humility. That could be false humility. Especially when you have the ability and responsibility to stand up, you can't allow it to happen in front of you. If you have no ability, that's a different thing. And if you are not responsible for it, that's also a different thing. But if you have the ability and responsibility to stand up for truth, you can't allow something bad to happen in front of you. In the name of humility, in the name of tolerance. I think I'll get the verbatim exact statements and then maybe post in the group. I'll forward to Prabhu and he can post. We need to have a deeper understanding of humility. Those who are just speaking up, those who are little vocal, you can't immediately label, "Ye humble nahi hai." Humble matlab kya? Chup baithne ka? Just keeping quiet is humility or what? So those who speak up, it's not necessary that they are not humble. What is their intention in speaking up? Okay, anyways, let's stop our speech. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. You have some feast right now? I have heard. Anyways, let's conclude. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.